Welcome to the second edition of my weekly vlog, podcast, whatever you want to call it, on Daily Fantasy. Just a little disclaimer, for all these lineups and prices, I'm going to be going on DraftKings. I know some of you guys are on FanDuel. Should be pretty similar. I just play on DraftKings, so that's what I'm basing it upon. I hope you guys had a better weekend than I did. I was pretty dismantled in fantasy. Mohamed Sanu and Jeremy Hill kind of wrecked me. So I didn't win any money this weekend, but that's cool. I mean, it happens. I learned a valuable lesson. I'm not going to pick anybody from Thursday Night Football anymore, and maybe even primetime games, because these games are so one-sided that you don't know if you're going to be on the dominated end, or you don't know you're going to be on the end that completely puts up like nothing. So I'm going to try and stay away from that as much as I can. Of course, if there's some matchups that are favorable, I'm going to go for them, but that's just my golden rule from now on. Moving on to this week. I think I have a pretty solid lineup. I'm liking it. I was able to load up pretty cheap in some of my options, and then I have a lot of salary put into my tight end and my flex. I think it's going to pay off for me. Let's get into it. My QB this week is Derek Carr. He is extremely low priced. He's only $5,100. He's a guy that's putting up 15 points every week, sometimes more. He is facing a Chargers secondary that is their secondary is just a mess right now. I mean, it's riddled with injuries. So I like his chances, especially since the Chargers have been so underperforming as of late. I do think they pick it up and beat the Raiders, of course, but Derek Carr has just been solid, and he's a very cheap option. He's allowed me to put some more money into some other positions, which is my philosophy. So my running backs this week, I think, are pretty solid. First of all, I have Frank Gore, who is ridiculously cheap. I'm trying to find his price right now. $4,500 for Frank Gore. He had a coming out party last week. He had a very bad TD draw, but he racked up 80 yards. He had a touchdown, put up good points. I think Greg Roman, offensive coordinator for the 49ers, is starting to realize that he's a pivotal point of that offense. Why it took him so long to figure that out, I don't know. But he is playing the Giants this week. Their run defense is very suspect. I like him to get a lot of carries and a lot of yardage. A lot of red zone touches. And plus, Carlos Hyde was pretty much pushed aside on Sunday versus the Saints. So I think that they're going to start, giving Frank Gore the heavy portions like they should have been doing all along. My other running back is Alfred Morris. Whenever RG3 is in the lineup and he's starting, Alfred Morris just does so well. And it's because their offense, once again, is two-dimensional. Teams can't load up the box like they were doing against Colt McCoy and Kirk Cousins, so I like him a lot this week. He's definitely a cheap option as well. Let's see what they got him at. They got him at $5,400, so definitely a guy you should go for if you're looking to go on the cheap side for your running backs. Another guy I like this week is Le'Veon Bell, simply because he's a monster. He racks up a ton of yardage, averaging 20 points per game, and he is facing a Titans defense that is very weak against the run. Going into the wide receivers, I have 3 rookies starting, surprisingly. I think you guys can guess who they are. I got OBJ, I got Kelvin Benjamin, I got Martavis Bryant. Bryant and Benjamin are both huge red zone targets. They're racking in the touchdowns each week. You got to start them, especially for their price right now. Let's check out their prices real quick. I know Benjamin is super cheap. Bryant is $6,200, which I think is justified for his play as of late. I mean, he's been going absolutely ham. Kelvin Benjamin's at $4,900, so that's $800, I think, up from last week. So I like them this week. I especially like Benjamin because he is playing against a soft Falcons secondary. So I think he is going to have another good week. And then Odell Beckham Jr., he's just getting so many targets from Eli Manning. He is his go-to guy. He is torching everybody. He torched Richard Sherman. I mean, you can't go wrong with OBJ. And he is on the cheap side as well, surprisingly, at only $6,000. So going with the rookies, don't know how that's going to work out. I think it'll work out pretty well, but I wouldn't be surprised if it bites me in the ass. We'll see. Because I went so cheap on almost every single position, I did load up my tight end and my flex, like I told you previously. I've got Rob Gronkowski in my tight end. He is off of that bye. He is going to come back to dominating. He is the highest priced tight end. He is the highest priced tight end by $900. So he's $7,900 this week. He's definitely worth the money, I can tell you that. He's going to be dominating every single week, especially how much the Patriots have been airing it out lately. I mean, you can't go wrong with Gronk. And then the second highest paid tight end this week, Mr. Jimmy Graham for 7K. He is going to be my flex option. He's been doing really well as of late. Drew Brees is starting to get things going. Their offense is definitely rolling on all cylinders as of late. 2 touchdowns against the 49ers. I think he's going to have another great week. He's facing the Bengals. They've been very, 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 very bad against tight ends this year. So Jimmy Graham is definitely a very good play. I definitely budgeted around those two. I definitely put those two in those slots, and then I moved around them. So that's definitely a guaranteed 20 points from each of them, I am hoping. But they definitely have the ability to go for much more. So that's what I am wishing for this week. I hope you guys make a ton of money this weekend. Play it smart. Don't put too much money into your quarterbacks. Make sure you load up your skill positions. That's just my advice. You don't have to take it. One more thing that I wanted to bring up is a wide receiver that I really like this week. He plays for the Falcons. No, he is not Julio Jones. He is Mr. Roddy White. I was considering Roddy White in my flex option this week, just simply because he's been so good. But the thing is, Josh Norman for the Panthers, he's their #1 cornerback he took over a couple weeks ago. He's been stopping pretty much everybody that he runs into. Jeremy Maclin was held to very little last night on Monday Night Football. Even though Roddy White is better than Jeremy Maclin, in my opinion, I don't think that Roddy White's going to have as much success as people think he is. Julio Jones, sorry. I don't think Julio Jones is going to have as much success as people think he will, because he'll be going up against Norman. I like Roddy White. Panthers have been giving up absurd numbers to #2 receivers this year, simply because they don't really have a strong option outside of Josh Norman. Roddy White has been very solid this year, so I like Roddy White to rack up a ton of yardage this coming Sunday. Alrighty, guys, that is my final tip. Hope you guys have a very successful weekend, and I will see you guys next week.